And welcome to the Glacially Musical Podcast. It is beer, metal, and swearing. I am Nick of Glacially Musical, joined by my good friend, a man who's been on vacation, who's been around the country, who's seen a coast and a Midwest coast, who's brought back things that he's loved and will love forever. Keefy Knickknacks. How we doing today, buddy?
Keefy Knit. Well, my last name is literally Chotskis. Um, I'm
Yeah, no, I'm
awesome.
not doing that. That's easy.
I haven't been on vacation, but I am awesome. Thank you very much. How are you?
All right, tripping, whatever. How you want to do it?
Yep.
All right. Thank you for joining us this week. As you know, here's how we do. We do a greeting, beer check, vinyl check, shirt check, news check, meat. The meat of the episode this week is we are thankfully joined by an amazing band from Wausau, Wisconsin. I can only name 3 cities in Wisconsin, and this is not one of them. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But we are joined by 20 Watt Tombstone this week, which is an amazing band whom I have loved for a number of years. But we're not there yet. First, of course, is the beer check. My beer check this week is Mother's Brewing, Mother's Little Helper, into the 16-ounce pint glass. Oh, you can't see.
I didn't hear
Finger
a pop.
fudge pour. Oh, you
I
didn't
did
hear the
not hear.
pop?
I didn't hear the pop, sir. But it could
Huh.
be my situation is wonky this week.
Hang on. Let me try again.
This is what happened last time where you had too much too soon.
Look, I'm already on whiskey. I had a sore throat, so I had to get some rye whiskey down the throat to
Mm.
feel better. And whatever, I don't care. Pretty soon after, hey, look, when I finish this, I'm going over to watch the Sopranos movie because I haven't seen it, and I figured I
Oh,
was going to watch Wrexham. The Rex. That's actually why I watched the Sopranos. It was because I wanted to watch the movie.
oh, that's weird. The show
I
is much
know.
better, but I
I,
enjoyed the movie. Unlike most
Ray
people,
Liotta's in the movie.
it's his next to last or third to last movie
I
ever.
know.
So yeah.
Cocaine Bears is last. So
No, there's
I
one more. There's
is
one
there?
more he was shooting when he died. That's gonna get
Uh,
finished.
I've got a super crush on Ray Liotta. I say
Me
it.
too.
I said it. Okay, so
As
what's your beer
far back
check?
as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. I am drinking a beer I've never had before, just
Just
for
gonna say,
taste.
damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. I am gonna drink a beer I have never had before. This is Dial M for Mullet West Coast Lager. Look at this can. This can is glorious. Look at this craziness.
That is the greatest. That did I ever tell you about the El Camino I saw going home from work one day?
No.
Oh, great! Real quick story, 10 seconds. So I'm leaving the office. I gotta go pick up the wife. Take. Oh, heard it. Nice. Going home, pick up the wife, take her home. She's sick, right? I'm in the car, getting ready to turn on to St. Charles Rock Road, and I hear this amazing 80s, 70s music. And I'm like, come on, dude, turn it down. Turn it down. Nobody wants to hear Boston. Nobody wants to hear Bad Company. Turn this crap down. I look over my left shoulder, and I see the sweetest goddamn Caprice Classic mullet. I'm sorry, Caprice Classic El Camino I've ever seen. The dude driving it, this is in August, wearing no shirt with the sweetest ass dirty blonde mullet I've ever seen. And I looked at that and I went, you know what? Don't turn it down. In fact, sir, turn it up.
Turn it up. It is the chaser. We need to quickly explain the finger fudge pour, sir.
The finger fudge pour. If you take your beer, I'm going to use a jar to demonstrate and pour this directly down the middle. Don't pull the tilty. Embrace the head, because what the head gives you is pleasure, because it doesn't give you any burping. What it does
The
is
gas goes in the air and not in your belly.
look at that. Look at that. I mean, the head is perfect
It's
now.
not. It's not the best looking beer like the beers you're used to getting served in bars. I get it.
It
And the
takes a
re-
minute.
and by the way, the reason that beers are served that way in bars so you don't get a foam because you don't want to drink the foam. You don't want a beer that's all foam. You want beer. So when you tilt the glass, you get more beer. The appearance of more beer, but it's not the beer you want in your body. Anyway, that's the finger fudge pour. Blame bartender TikTok. That's where I learned it. Somebody else validated it recently. A friend of a friend.
Well,
Just
think
saying.
about this for a minute. Why do you think they created these pour from the bottom taps? It's
Could
so
be.
that the gas dissipates as it goes up. Anywho, vinyl check. Notice anything different about me this week?
Beside the hat, not really.
Notice anything different about me this week?
You don't have a mustache and a beard.
The goddamn hat.
Oh, what's the hat, sir? I don't understand.
You will in a minute.
Okay.
My vinyl check this week was purchased at my child, my daughter, the love of my life, her favorite record store, which is Planet Score Records in Maplewood, which is between the Aldi's and the Schnucks, which is great for having an excuse to go there. You got to go to the Schnucks to polish off the grocery shopping. That's our local chain. Schnucks is our local chain. And I learned a lesson from the child today while we were in line at Aldi's. Do not get teary at Aldi's. Do never get teary in Aldi's. Get teary outside. It's okay outside. Finished Ted Lasso last night, season 3, and I got teary in the line. So she's like, no.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Anyway, so my vinyl check this week, I got a 1 for Obituary, Slowly We Rot, Live and Rotting Edition. Get it now? Orange hat. They're hunters.
Don't get it. Okay. I guess that's a very loose. I don't understand the reference, the hat reference at all. Like, what is the hat referencing besides the orange and hunting?
It's orange.
1960.
It's Hunter Orange. That's the Denver
Hunter
Broncos.
Orange.
I've asked
Ew.
my wife to buy me sporting hats, but she can find them. And I like my sporting hats to be as ridiculous as possible. This is just the fuggliest hat I've ever owned. I mean, it's just genuinely hideous.
That's recent. That release is recent, right? They did the live stream.
Oh, she got it at Goodwill for $4.
That's insane. That's a relatively new record.
Wait, no, the record was $20. The hat was $4.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Were we talking about the record or the hat?
I meant the record, but okay.
The record is Slime Green. Their latest record was actually Hunter Orange, like the hat. So that is what I got this week. Came across it at $20. I didn't have it yet, and I don't have Slowly We Rot. You know what? You drop an old school death metal record I don't have for $20 or less. You're getting my $20 or less.
I'm definitely thinking after the Cannibal series already about the next death metal band series, and Obituary could be it. We'll talk about it.
Could be. What's your record check this week?
So, really quick, I just came back from Chicago, literally last night, where I was for the last week. My journey is over. I'm back home in San Francisco. And I had like 6 record stores on my list. I went to one record store that's supposed to have a speakeasy in the back. They were closed on Monday. I ran out of time.
I don't think you need to have speakeasies now. I think you can just have a bar.
Well, it's like a whole thing. It's a secret door and a secret club and then you spin record. They spin records in the club, and it's also a record store.
Speakeasy. That's lame.
In Wicker Park.
I said it.
Chicago. Anyway, I saw them stocking this in the shelf, and then I was like, "Oh, I need that record." Literally, I went to Reckless Records. There are many in the chain.
I have been to
Chicago.
Reckless. That is the one. I went to the one downtown on a trip.
I went to the one downtown as well. Shout out to Nathan, who worked at the counter and helped me and gave me some more advice about Chicago things. But anyway,
they had the plywood colored wooden. Yeah. I remember I came across a bunch of records I had reviewed before I was into vinyl, and I couldn't believe it. But I had already bought. That's back when my record budget was very low. It was so low. My wife was like, "You bought one last month. Do you need another one?" It was that low.
I really did not need to buy any more records on this trip. All the records that I traveled with and bought while I was back east are back east. They stayed there. They're gonna come back to me eventually. And then I went to the record store and bought some more records. I needed them. So here's the final check.
More. You should have brought them home. I said it.
You said it. All right. So this is a record you may or may not be familiar with, but this is the project Lovage, a side project of Mike Patton of Faith No More and Mr. Bungle, who I just saw, and they were incredible. And this is the one record by Lovage. Nathaniel Merriweather presents as his character he created. Lovage, music to make love to your old lady by. So this is sort of like twisted.
Was that a gun?
He has got a... Yes, it's a gun and roses and a cigarette he's smoking.
That is the most
And
1960s Texas thing I've ever seen.
this, even look at the back artwork, is meant to evoke the 1960s records, right?
Nailed it. Nailed it.
So this is a new pressing on a limited edition colored vinyl, and I'm gonna just whip it out and show it to you quickly. Again, the fabulous retro artwork, the back. This is on 2 vinyls. I'm only gonna pull out the one to show and tell, cash and prizes, and this is a gorgeous 1960s turquoise.
Oh, that is a, you know what? No, 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 no. That is not what that is. That is 1957 Chevy Bel Air Blue.
Maybe.
I just saw one last week at a car show, so
I am not a car guy, but
I am
that's
not
my
either.
vinyl check.
I am not a car guy. However, my wife is.
I think we didn't cheers.
Did
Cheers.
we cheer? Oh my God! Cheers! 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 See, okay. Let's run through the news real quick because guesting should be guesting on the soon. Uh, quick news for me. Speak to Me / Breathe from Dark Side of the Moon Acid Reflux Edition by Roger Waters has been released. Did you hear that? You didn't even.
I heard you. I muted myself.
Okay. I just need to know that I'm funny. Anyway, the Acid Reflux Edition of Dark Side of the Moon. Yes, breathe, break to me, whatever. I don't care at this point. I care so little about this record at this point. I did not even listen to it till I got tired of it. I was tired of these songs before I listened to it. Moving on in the Pink Floyd vein, Holly Sampson, wife of David Gilmour, has confirmed recently she is presently working on lyrics for a new David Gilmour record. I look forward to that. Back to Roger in a project that I can get behind. The Bar is set to be released in early 2024, which is new music, not him re-recording music that was perfection to begin with, like Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, Acid Reflux. Last bit of news I have. The man, the myth, the legend, the troubled gentleman from Samson, later Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson is teaming up once again with Rory Z for a solo record, which is early 2024. And that is going to be called the Magnate something or other. I don't know. Mandrake, the Mandrake Effect. Interested because this is the same crew that made Tyranny of Souls, which I absolutely loved.
That's right. Fair enough. Not a bad time for Bruce to have a solo record. There's supposed to be another Maiden announcement right after that Power Trip tour. I suspect it's going to be the Maiden tour for 2023 for Senjutsu. I will give you 2 quick news items. Pursuant to our just finished series on Cannibal Corpse, link in the description, link above, an interview took place with Alex Webster where he was asked if Cannibal Corpse would ever tour with 6 Feet Under. What do you think his answer to that was?
Ooh, God, I want to hear hell yeah, but I'm going to assume no.
Hell no.
Yeah,
not even fathomable.
It would be like
no contact with him except their lawyers since he's been out of the band.
The likelihood of that happening is a Roger David tour, or a Kiss Ace Frehley, or a Paul Stanley Ace Frehley tour, which really Paul Stanley and Ace Frehley should both stop touring, but that's besides the point.
Fair enough. And then I guess my other news piece, I'll just give a quick 1-minute recap of my time in Chicago at Riot Fest.
Hit it.
Have been to Chicago before, but didn't really make time to do touristy things. Met the lady friend. Came in a night early. Met the lady friend. Went bar hopping. Had my first ever Wrigleyville Chi-dawg. Unbelievable. So good I had to go back after hours of drinking and have another. That's how good it was. Maybe the best meat I've ever had in my mouth ever.
Well, you're coming to St. Louis soon.
We'll have to debate. Riot Fest was awesome. Part of Sunday got rained out, and they canceled the first 2 hours of bands, including Empire State Bastard, who I did not
That
get
reminds
to see.
me, I've got a bit more to throw out.
Okay. Riot Fest was amazing. It's very eclectic. Foo Fighters closed Friday. In terms of a festival to cover it or go to it, It was a 10 of 10 except for one thing. Maybe two things. The food was subpar considering it was Chicago.
At the
And
concert, I don't think you can even discuss that. I don't think that's fair.
okay. It was lame food options. I did have a very good corn dog, but it shouldn't really be fair food at Riot Fest in Chicago with its hipster quotient. And only one vegetarian or vegan option, really not good. But the other real major quibble is there's no real way to get out of, if you know Chicago, Douglas with two S's Park, there's no way to get out of there. So I stayed till the end on Friday to see Foo Fighters, and then it took me 2.5 hours to go, half an hour to get out of there. Plus, it was Mexican Independence Day parade celebration weekend, which is just insane to have this massive festival the same weekend as this thing. 400,000 people taking over the city to celebrate their heritage. Awesome, amazing, great, but not after a festival of 75,000 people gets out. Really difficult.
Is that the same park where they do Lollapalooza?
Lollapalooza is at Grant Park, closer to downtown, into downtown. Douglas
I
Park
have
is out of
driven
downtown.
past that while it was going on. We got to Chicago and went, oh, wow, this is the wrong weekend.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Highlights for me for the festival, because of what I do when I go to a festival is I try to see bands I don't know, so I discover a lot of new bands that way. But of course, I saw Foo Fighters and Gorilla Biscuits, which I bragged all about. Quicksand. I didn't get to interview them, but I bumped into Walt Schreifels and Sammy Sigler of Quicksand for a second and hugged them and had a big "What's up" with them. They were like, "What a blast from the past, Keefy." Mr. Bungle was flawless, maybe my favorite band of the weekend. Bunch of other hardcore and metal bands. Code Orange, incredible. There's a super group of legendary pop punk bands. Fake Names, featuring members of Bad Religion and Refused. And I caught a little bit of Dresden Dolls. Again, they were clashing with Gorilla Biscuits, so I watched all their set. I did see Sleep Token, who is arguably one of the most talked about bands in the world right now, and I got to see them. And they started out a little slow because their music's like very ambient. I like to call it Deftones core, but their performance was great, and by the end of the performance, they had definitely lived up to the massive hype. So there was some real tremendous artists at this thing, and I'm really glad I went. I definitely would go again, although buyer beware on the difficulties escaping. And then, just to close it out, I skipped my colleague who covered the festival with me, stayed to cover The Cure, and I left to go to that Danzig tour. And in a word, that Danzig show was stupendous. Maybe one of the top ones I've ever seen him do.
Can I just say,
Danzig,
go to hell?
Danzig playing all of Danzig 1, half of Danzig 2, and the hits from Danzig 3. Flawless.
Stop
And
making
then
me hate you.
and then Behemoth, Twin Temple, and Midnight all opened and were great. And I went to the Aragon Ballroom for the first time ever. And then last and not least of Chicago, I did go to Mr. Beef, the original, and ordered flawlessly and had an incredible beef dipped sweet with provolone. Amazing.
My suggestion, if you're going to get a Chicago beef, is Portillo's.
Everybody said Portillo's is terrible, and apparently has gone down in quality. The other place
I had it last year.
Other place I was told to go was Al's.
I'm happy with
But
Portillo's.
I will try Portillo's another time. And that was my trip to Chicago. I also went to the Torture Museum. I saw my first Cubbies game in the rain. They won 14-1.
With the trough.
With the trough, it's very unsettling. But it did
We
remind me of
talk about
Yankee
that
Stadium.
trough in Wrigley Field down here in St. Louis way more than we really should. For some reason, we were obsessed by that. Maybe it's because we've had 2 new stadiums since they've gotten the one. I'm sorry, we've had 4 new stadiums since they got the one. Now that I think about it. Anyway,
let's do the shirt check and then the guess, because we are 20 minutes late because of me.
Barishi.
I am wearing my Casket Robbery Coven of Souls Glow in the Dark shirt.
They are coming to
now that
town.
I'm now home, I'm able to put a new rotation of clothes together.
They are coming to town next month. But according to the lineup I saw, they're only playing 15 minutes.
No, that can't be.
I'm gonna actually verify that with them.
I'm in the group. I'm in this group that this shirt comes from. I literally get off the call with you later and ask Corey and Meg.
Okay, that'd be I would love to see them, but I'm not gonna go pay for 18 bands to get 15 minutes of them.
That's fair.
I think that's fair. All right. Anyway, I'm
Maybe you
gonna
can go meet them and hang out with them. They
last
would
thing.
also make a very good guest as a chaser.
Agreed. We should do that while they're here. They can come to my house because
Hmm.
they're going to be playing 2 miles from my damn house.
I'll let them
Anyway,
know.
before we do that, last thing I want to say: Guns N' Roses in St. Louis officially canceled as expected.
Not rebooked. Not
Not
at all.
rebooked. They announced
Oh.
canceled today. So I'll get my we'll get our $200 back in 6 months or so. Whatever. I don't. Whatever. Fuck them.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, I just wish we hadn't bought the damn tickets, honestly, because we bought the tickets a week ahead of time. I mean, like it was not a real long, wasn't a real long time frame. Anyway, let's bring in the guests because we have screwed them over.
You can blame me.
I'll blame you.
Oh,
I will fight
oh,
you, but
he might have
not today.
disappeared.
Uh-oh.
Damn it! Did you message him? No.
Pause. And we are back. We are joined by someone with a beard that terrifies me, with glasses that amaze me, with a hat that I'm not that fond of, with a guitar tone that rivals that of not Joe Bonamassa, but Freddie the Fourth from Left Lane Cruiser, somebody from way up north in Wisconsin, where my good friend Jamie lives, actually, but I've never been to. We are joined by Tom of 20 Watt Tombstone. How are we doing this evening? And thank you for taking some time for us before your tour.
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I don't know if anybody told you, but if you desire or like beer, you are encouraged to drink one on this show.
Uh, I no longer drink beer because I drank all of the beer
Oh my
before
God,
COVID.
I'm sorry.
No, no, it's not a touchy subject or anything. I just when COVID happened, um, not being able to tour and stuff, I was sitting home all the time, and it just felt weird to sit and drink alone. So I just got out of the habit, I guess. And then when I could again, when shows started up, I was just like, just felt weird to drink, so I just kind of gave it up.
I can completely understand that. And I think the last time I saw you was, now that I think about it, 2018. I think it was 2018 at the Broadway Athletic Club right before James Legg and Hoot and
Oh
Hollers and
boy,
Porkchop Holder went on.
yeah, that would have been yeah, probably like 2017, 2018, something like that.
I don't remember exact dates. I just remember it was the Whiskey War Festival,
Mm-hmm.
which of course is a what is was I'm not sure, a local festival put on by the Manus Brothers,
Yep.
and a band I hear word on the street is that you're going to be performing with again in the very near future.
Yep. Um, well, those two are good buddies of ours, so we tend to cross paths quite a bit. Like, I was at Dave's wedding, and Jake was up here for our wedding. But yeah, we've known them a while, and we did a I don't even know how many dates that tour was, but we did a really long tour with those two. So they're like family.
I have to say it's very rare for somebody to be kind of in bed with a local band from my hometown of St. Louis, and then also in bed with one of my favorite bands, Left Lane Cruiser. That is just, I mean, to me, that messes me up that you are so connected. I mean, one of the things I have said, and the blues circuit, especially the lo-fi dirty blues circuit, is extremely incestuous, and everybody's swapping everybody out. The show that I mentioned the last time I ran into you, that was James Legg was there, and he was performing with Andy of Hoot and Hollers, because it for some reason James Legg just, as near as I can tell, he just cannot stand a drummer. He just cannot keep one. He's gone through like 50. And in fact, Freddie from Left Lane did an album with the drummer from Black Diamond Heavies, even
Yep. We
James's old
played
band,
their
King
we
Bud.
played their album release. Van. Yeah,
Did you
Van.
really? Was
Yeah.
that at Rusty Nail?
It was at the the Brass Rail. Brass Rail.
That's the name of the place, Brass Rail, not Rusty Nail. I don't know what Rusty Nail is. I probably made that up. But
Sounds
I'm
like a
also
drink, actually. A rusty nail. Give me a rusty nail.
thank you, Keefy. I
That's
got
all I'm
nothing
good
to
for.
say. Okay, fair enough.
I'll jump in. I've been
Jump in.
quiet. So Tom and I know each other quite a long time, several years. I'm a massive fan. We became acquainted. I've interviewed the band. I am the owner of several fine 20-watt pieces of merchandise, and I just came back from my trip back east and the Midwest as well. Sorry I didn't get to see you. I was in Chicago for a week for Riot Fest, but I wore my Reverend Meantooth hat everywhere. That is a side project of Tom's, a solo project, if you will, right?
Oh, look at you just dropping names.
Just dropping names. But for our audience that may not know you, I love that the band's self-described genre is death blues. But give us the 1 minute elevator pitch of what is 20 Watt Tombstone and who would like the band.
Oh boy. Well, it's funny you bring up the death blues thing because we have officially ditched that term. I've always loved the term, and I think it speaks really well about what we sounded like prior to this new record. But when we listened to this record recorded, we were just kind of like, yeah, that's not us anymore. So I would say at this point we're just a rock band, man. It's pretty simple. It's pretty basic. It's just kind of, this is one of those projects that I feel like every record I want to do something different. Like I don't want to be the same guy from record to record. And being that we have kind of been able to have this fluidity from record to record, it's not changing a ton. It's still us, but it's still different. The first record was really bluesy and rootsy. The second record was more of a stoner rock record. This new record is more, just straight up rock and roll. So I guess I would say, anybody who's fans of like Left Lane Cruiser, obviously, like our fan base and theirs are basically the same people. But now with the newer material, people who are fans of like Rival Sons and Greta Van Fleet and bands like that, more of the psychedelic rock, southern rock genre, that's definitely where we're headed on this record. So yeah, just fans of simple rootsy rock and roll, I guess, would be the people who are going to dig us.
I don't want to spoil anything. I'll let you jump in a second, pal.
Thank you.
I don't want to spoil anything. No spoilers. I have heard The Chosen Few. It is amazing.
I have too, and also amazing.
And what I will say is what I hear, and I can pull out specific songs, I hear stuff as heavy and diverse as Clutch or Corrosion of Conformity, or even at times a High on Fire. Maybe not quite as heavy.
Thank you for naming a band I like.
But definitely, if you don't like Corrosion of Conformity, this partnership in this podcast is over as far as I'm concerned.
I don't hate them. I don't love them.
That's just weird. Okay. You're so weird, Nicholas.
Get that all the time. I'm not crazy. I'll tell you the same thing I tell my wife every day. I'm not crazy.
But those are things that I hear in the music as well. And there's definitely a couple of instances where I was like, is this like a new Clutch song? Because it was like, I'm hearing, or Red Fang is another one, like leaning into their psychedelia, but also that like, I love the stoner rocks, psych rock stuff too. So like, I feel like there's so many avenues for people to latch onto you. And I agree, this is not the same animal as your earlier material. So good call on refuting me and the former tag, this former self-described tag. That's fine. Now you may go, Nicholas, if you have more to add.
I don't anymore because what I wanted to mention was 7 minutes ago, and let me now it's a callback instead of a quip. But I remember what I wanted to say now. You talking about how each album you are moving forward, becoming something different. That is actually one of my absolute favorite things in the world. And there was a recent discussion I had most of the bands that I really, really love, obviously we're talking about, the A plus, stadium people, Metallica, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, although I'm not a big fan. One of those things that those bands did that was in Kiss was so great was they had several records of several different genres. There's a reason why I've only got 2 records of AC/DC with Bon Scott, or I'm sorry, with Brian Johnson on vocals, because every Brian Johnson record sounded like a crappy version of the one that preceded it.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
accurate.
wrong. Don't even, I mean, you don't have to consider it, Keefy. I'm not wrong. That is true.
Is there a question here for Tom? Is what I'm asking. Like,
Uh, no, I wanted to
it's just Nick
compliment.
goes on a tirade about something, and we are all held hostage. Welcome to the
I
show,
was
everybody. Glacially
complimenting
Musical
Tom
Podcast. I
on
know.
his amazing ability to move forward, grow, and change and create different things.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, that's how you don't burn yourself out too, because some people, I mean, like you mentioned ACDC, they clearly enjoy doing what they do. And I'm kind of with you. I haven't bought any ACDC records in recent years because I don't feel like we're getting a different record. There are some good songs, but like, and that's not to slight them at what they do. Like
You don't have to slight them. I can, because they can't do anything. It sucks it sucks that they have made the same record for the past 42 years. And I would rather they write different songs and new things and say, "Oh, I learned a second chord progression."
Well, and that's the thing too. That's kind of why this record is different. I felt like I was stuck in that box when so we had a completely different record written about 3 or 4 years ago. We had a complete record, all the music written. We had 11 tracks, and I just felt like it sounded like everything else we had done. And so we toyed around with it, for a couple of years, and we were touring all the time too, which was really preventing us from recording. But so we would hole up in a studio on the road and try to work through these songs. And the more we played them, the more I just went, this is not what I want to do. So what I did was to get out of my box and stop that from happening, what we're talking about. I basically, when COVID hit, I had some ideas for songs. We had one song fully written. We had a few other skeletal structures done. So I just went to all the drummers I knew, and some I didn't, and just put on Facebook, hey, send me your drum tracks. Send me whatever you want. It doesn't matter what it is, if it's fast, slow, if it's jazz, blues, metal, whatever. Send me your drum tracks, and I just want to jam with them. So what I would do is I would plug the stems of what they recorded into my recording software and just play with that and see what I could do. And some of it wasn't working. Some of it was, just not in my wheelhouse. But it forced me, because I'm so used to playing with Mitch. We've been together for 13 years. So, like, we have this cohesive thing that's always kind of our thing. And in order for me to play differently, I needed to explore playing with some other people. So, when I got these drum tracks, um, I would hear different things that I maybe wasn't hearing when we were writing together, and it forced me to come out of my box a little bit and write differently. So this record really is the reason that it's different is because I forced myself to play with someone other than Mitch in the writing process. And then once I had an idea of where I was going, I brought him back in and said, "Hey, this is what I want to do." And some of it was a little bit of a challenge for him too because we were both kind of playing off of where we normally are comfortable. But I think sometimes you have to do things that are uncomfortable and not good. Because if you do what you're good at all the time, you're not going to grow. You're not going to, it if you read the same books all the time, they're probably great books, but you're not going to learn anything new if you're just reading the same books. And it's the same thing for anything. You have to challenge yourself and push yourself into a place where maybe you're not creating the best stuff, but you're growing. And that's kind of what I forced myself to do.
completely understand that. I feel like I should make a Ted Lasso reference now that I have finished Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is one of the two things in this world I can go straight up hipster on that I was a fan of before anybody else. That's that and Foo Fighters. I saw them before anybody heard of them on the Mike Watt tour. Of course, I've hated everything they've done since then, so it's not really helpful. But I really love that explanation. I feel that's actually similar to why I took guitar lessons in 2012, 2013. I got a Gibson Les Paul guitar, and I remember going downstairs in the basement, plugging it into my little tiny 9-volt guitar amp and playing that guitar and playing the exact same things I played on my very first guitar, which was a single pickup Gremlin.
Oh, nice.
And I just thought to myself, wow, I am so dishonoring this instrument. Because I'm playing the same bullshit I played when I was 19. And
everybody starts somewhere, though. Like,
I was 39.
That's fine, bro. It's fine.
No, I hadn't started.
Music
I
is
was at
like
the
AA.
finish line.
We'll take you whenever. We'll take you in any condition. Whenever you want to start. Like metal. We'll take you whenever.
There's no wrong way to learn guitar, man.
There is. The way that I taught myself is the wrong way. I'm going to quote the amazing philosopher, the theologian, the master of the 21st century, Mitch Hedberg. I taught myself to play guitar, but I was a shitty teacher. I should not have went to me because I did not know how to play it.
Fair. That's fair. Before I go on to my next question, we talked about Mitch Ostrowski. Let's give the flowers, man.
Not
this guy is
okay.
The other Mitch that I care about in this relevant to this interview. Mixing a beer all over himself.
Don't make me laugh when I'm sipping.
Mitch is awesome, man. Like, if
I was going to ask you, Mitch, you've already got a leg up on the world.
My favorite, listen, like I always say, like guitar techs and learn your band set lists and stuff. Jawbreaker, who's one of my favorite punk bands, is currently on a occasional never-ending reunion tour the last few years, and their former tech is now in their band as a backup guitar player. Mitch, shout out to Mitch of Jawbreaker. So, learn your stuff. But I was gonna say, like you and him have kind of like I don't know if do you have like a language you speak to each other or you just kind of know each other so well musically you eventually lock in? How's that work? Because duos are not a novelty anymore. There are a lot of band duos, and yours is very specific to you guys and your sound. So I'm always fascinated by how that dynamic works.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by it too, because on paper it makes no sense. I met him years ago when I was in a different band. I was in a 3-piece at the time, and it was more bluesy. And the bass player was like, I met this kid. He's in my other band. He's really good. He's a metal player. And I was like, I don't want anything to do with this guy. If he's a metal drummer playing blues, it's just going to be weird. And so he fought me on it and finally got him into a practice. And, and I don't know how much you followed the early days, but Mitch used to be wild. I mean, he has a reputation for being, the social guy in the band. And that's really, that's part of why we work so well together is we are polar opposites. Like, he's 10 years younger than me too. But
what are you, like 35, 33?
47.
No.
Yeah.
You have less gray than me. I'm angry, and I'm 47.
It's all in my beard. I don't have any.
There's no gray in that beard. You have a beard like Trent Krim from Ted Lasso. I'm sorry. I binged Ted Lasso season 3 this week. All 12 episodes. Show. I know.
Great show. And a happy show.
I cried.
It's one of those shows that, you happy cry a lot, but it's
exactly.
It's one of those shows you can watch, no pressure, it's laid back. You don't have to stress about who's going to get killed on this episode or,
I should mention before Ted Lasso season 3, I binged all 7 seasons of The Sopranos. And I did have to stress about, and actually
It was
when
really
I when
nice.
when this is over, what I'm gonna do is sit down and watch the movie, because I watched The Sopranos, and I told Keefy this before you came on, and apparently this is wrong. I watched The Sopranos because I wanted to watch the movie, because Ray Liotta's in it. I
Yeah.
said it. I am who I am.
The movie's good though. I
The
mean,
Many Saints of Newark is the movie we're referencing for those listening at home.
I have never heard anybody say anything kind about it, so that's the first one.
I
Thank you.
I didn't hate it
I think
as a
it's great.
prequel. I thought it was well done. I
Well,
know
I mean,
New
prequels
Jersey.
by and large are failures.
I gonna say not only am I a huge Sopranos head, I know Newark, New Jersey intimately well as the history of Newark, New Jersey and the '60s race riots and things like
Oh,
that.
tell me about Boston.
Boston.
I said Newark, not
I
Boston.
know. I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for the next one.
There's no. I wasn't gonna bring up Boston. I just came.
I w-
I'm done with the East Coast for a while. I just came back.
you
I'm
don't
all
have to
set.
bring it up. I'll bring it up for you.
Anyway,
Long running jokes. You're sorry.
yeah.
We
My
excluded
mirth is on
you.
low today because
Sorry,
jet
I
lagged and
apologize.
tired, and I
We
worked all day
excluded
also.
you. We excluded you on this one. This is yeah. Sorry.
That's
It's your
okay.
episode. Not you.
Um,
Him.
yeah, I know. Let's talk about the album a little bit.
Okay.
What is the best
Um,
song on the record, and
oh,
why is it Magnolia?
oh, that is a great song.
For the record, my house, the house we moved out of last year, is on Magnolia Avenue. So that, just seeing that title when I went to listen to the record today, really stuck out to me. Really, and it is wonderful that it's actually an amazing song. And
Well, thank
tell
you.
me you're gonna open with it in St. Louis, because I've convinced my wife to go to the show. And if I can
Did,
say this is Magnolia.
uh, we will for sure play it, but we are not
Okay.
going to open with it.
All right. Like second song then? Third song?
Um,
I
what
need
we
you to keep her
do,
attention so we can stay the whole night.
what we usually do is we put the newer stuff towards the end because it's a little more vocally intensive for me. So
Oh, balls.
it'll be a short set. I think we're doing a 45 that night. So
Oh, balls. I don't want that either, though.
I feel like the best song on the new record is "Bomb That Saved the Day." Great lyrics, just catchy, right up my alley. I think it's certainly one of the more interesting of all of them. That definitely stands out. And I also love the ZZ Top cover. Got to mention it.
I was actually going to mention that. I joke about Magnolia, although it is a great song. That's not completely a joke. But so when I saw that you did Just Got Paid, my brain does not go to ZZ Top because my brain is broken. My brain goes to Joe Bonamassa. And I thought to myself, why do you hate Joe Bonamassa? Are you trying to fight with him? Because I want to see that.
I've met him. He was actually really nice to me.
I would pay
He
someone
seems
to
like
punch him.
he seems like a pretty laid back dude, frankly.
He
He's cool, but I don't think he's as great as he thinks he is.
Yeah, see, and I haven't seen him in years, but he has definitely been inflated in the press, and
Yeah, he's playing the Fox, I think, in October, and they're like, it's the guitar event of the year. And I'm like, look, I love Joe Bonamassa. I've got several of his albums. But he's not Steve Vai, who was already here this year. He's not John Five, who was already here this year. So maybe it's the guitar event of October. But I
Well,
don't know if that works for a commercial.
and here's the thing. So a lot of my buddies talk shit about him, and you will never hear me talk shit about him for one simple reason. Uh, I am not the biggest fan of his music, but he was very cool to me when I met him. Uh, I was working at a guitar shop at the time, and he was playing a festival, and he came in the guitar shop and like hung out, and we were talking about guitars and stuff, and he found out that I played, and he was like, well, were playing Mill Creek in Appleton, which that's how long ago this was. He was playing clubs the size of Mill Creek in Appleton. So,
For people who aren't me, what does that mean?
Mill Creek, I believe, is a 200 cap room.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for me.
yeah, so he was doing 200 and 300 cap rooms pretty regularly. Still had a tour bus, but he played this festival up here by me. Came in the shop, hung out, and was like, "Come see me at Mill Creek." And he's like, "We'll hang out or whatever." Well, anytime any famous guy has ever said to me, "We'll hang out," I always assume they're just saying that to be nice. Like I don't ever assume, and plus as someone that's in a band, like I understand that sometimes you just got to be nice to people so they don't like flatten your tires in the parking lot. Like you try to be nice to everybody, but yeah, so he was very nice, and his tour manager at the time was talking to us and stuff, and so we were like, well, is there anything we can bring down for Joe when we come? And he's like, he likes Jameson and, good company. So just.
He likes Jameson. My God, that is the most milk toast whiskey.
It could be worse. It could be
No,
worse.
I mean, no,
I mean,
because
you could have said Jägermeister
if it were
or
shitty
Malort.
whiskey, if it were shitty whiskey, that would be interesting.
Everybody in
I
Chicago
like
tried
the
to get me to
smoothest,
drink
blandest
Malort.
whiskey there is. I mean, you might as well just drink vodka at that point. Sorry.
When I used to drink, that was my go-to. Is like very high-end whiskey and bourbon was always my thing. But yeah, so we got to the show, and I just assumed that we would probably get forgotten about and that we would have to pay to get in the show and whatever. Um, but I came walking up, and he came out of the tour bus and waved to me to come in the tour bus. So, and I had my buddy from the shop with me, so we went. We went and got in the tour bus, and he was playing a 3/4 size guitar that he had bought somewhere on the road. That
Yeah,
was
probably
like
that weekend knowing
an
him.
antique. And he just sat there and talked to us and just shredded on this thing the whole time he was talking. Uh, but so we missed the entire opening band. Sat on his tour bus the entire time till he played. And he gave me some of the best advice I've ever gotten to this day. And it's part of what I was just talking about not clinging to genres. Because I was talking to him about some of the issues that I had at the time about writing and stuff. And I said, well, I wrote this song, but this song didn't really fit the record or the genre. And he's like, don't ever throw a song away. Don't ever assume that something that you created is not good enough to do anything with just because it doesn't suit the moment that you think it needs to. Somewhere there's somebody who that song might speak to, and if it's good, it's good, whether it's, a different genre or not. And so he was like, if you write a heavy record, make a heavy record. He's like, if the people that love you and support you, are really your fans, they're going to dig whatever you put out. They might like one record better than the next, but the reality is that most of these people, unless you fuck up and do something dumb, they're going to be there for you. They're just going to have different records that they're like, well, I don't like this record as much, but they'll be there for the next one. So that was kind of the turning point for me, where I decided that I didn't want to be really a genre band anymore. And then shortly after that, I started, gearing up for what would be 20 Watt Tombstone.
That is absolutely amazing. What love that story. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate that. What is your favorite song on this record?
It changes.
Oh, come
It
on.
changes so often, man. I would say right now, if we're going by just the record, not playing them live, because that's two different experiences. Playing them live, I would say Prophet Man is probably my favorite to play. My favorite to listen to is right now. It's probably "Bomb That Saved the Day." But that kind of flip flops for me. You know, sometimes I'll listen to the Chosen Few and I'll be like, oh, that riff is just, it grabs me. And then, I don't know, it's just, for me, it kind of changes. But the one that I enjoy playing the most off of the new record is definitely Prophet Man. That one is, I don't know, there's just something about it. It's fun to play, it's fun to sing. It's got a really cool instrumental part in the end that's, uh, you know, complex and simple at the same time. There's a lot of pieces, but they're not complex pieces, I guess is the way to put it. But yeah, that would be my favorite to play. And then I would say right now at the moment, probably Bomb That Saved the Day.
On this tour coming up, are you going to do something radical like braid your beard?
No, I don't braid my beard, nor do I allow people to braid my beard.
Fair enough. Would you pay someone to braid your beard?
No,
Because that
my
is not an
beard-
allowance, that is a request.
I have had Willie Nelson braids a couple of times, but
Oh, for a second I thought you were going to say Willie Nelson braided your beard,
I would let him.
and then I was going to get way more interested.
I would probably let him. He would be the one exception.
A friend of mine told a story about a buddy of his where Willie Nelson is on tour, comes to a studio. The bus rolls up to the local studio in St. Louis, and a tube comes out of the bus to the door. And that's how Willie gets from the bus to the studio. The tube rolls back, and the strongest, most pungent weed smell ever comes out, because apparently that's his whole studio.
That's how he's staying alive, man.
You know
It is
what? What is he like?
preserving him.
What is he? 735 at this point? I mean, have you ever seen him with brown hair or
Album
red hair?
covers.
Red hair, because he was a redhead. I only found out like 3 weeks ago he's actually redheaded. I had no idea.
I was gonna say I haven't ever seen him with brown hair.
I actually have a record of his where he has brown hair, and I'm like, and no beard, and I'm like, I don't know who you are, and I
Yeah, go
don't
look
want
up-
to know.
Go look up that first Willie album when he has like no shave. He's clean shaven. It's pretty
Yeah.
startling. When
Is
you first see it,
like
it's like
stars and something. I
Maybe
think that's the
something.
one I have. It's terrifying.
breaks your brain.
He
Um,
looks like a little chubby baby, and I don't want it.
I mean, everybody kinda
Redheaded
looks like a
Stranger
chubby
is
baby.
another good one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What's so you know, you and I have talked before when you like obviously, you know, you got a family and work and other things, but like in terms of listening to music, what do you listen to? How do you listen to music? How do you consume music as a music maker?
It's
He
probably
wants you to say
easier.
vinyl because that's what I want him to say.
No,
That's what I
I-
don't say.
Don't lead the witness. Have you
I'm
learned
not
nothing from your lawyer wife, Nicholas?
No, I don't. I don't go to her trials.
Lawyer wife.
My
Yeah.
my wife is legitimately an attorney.
Oh, nice. What kind of lawyer is she?
Presently, she is an insurance attorney. So basically, when somebody says, "Oh, you hurt my toe, I'm going to sue you for $800 million," that's when she gets involved. Like, no.
Nice.
Before that, she did murder. Before that, she did child sex crimes. Before that,
She did
domestic
murder, by
violence.
the way. Is you got to work on that punctuation there, pal.
My wife
She
was part
did
of the-
murder before she married me. She did murder.
No, we were married. No, my wife was part of, like, have you ever watched Law and Order and you see like the hot attorneys getting a phone call in the middle of the night and having to go to the crime scene? That's my life. Well, it was my life for a time.
Damn.
So yes, my wife did do homicide prosecution, and yes, she had to put on a bulletproof vest and walk out the door. And I didn't sleep those nights for some reason. I can't figure out why.
Damn.
But now she is working comfortably in insurance. Thank Christ. Because yeah.
That's got to be easier.
Well, I mean, yes. And we still have friends that are now judges. We have friends that are now high levels of homicide prosecution and attorneys general and all that bullshit. But not about me, Keefy, this week.
I didn't.
Next
you
week,
know.
next week it's about me.
All right then.
As far
So
as-
I believe the question is, how do you listen to music?
Yeah. So it would probably be easier to tell you what I don't listen to. I don't listen to pop country.
No, what he's asking about is because we are big vinyl people. Had you joined this podcast before I changed my setup, you would see me sitting in front of my 1200 records, like literally. So his question is when it's time for you to sit down, relax, be yourself, and consume an album, describe that experience.
Well, I prefer to listen on vinyl.
There we go. Perfect. You
Um,
nailed it.
I prefer to listen on vinyl, but I don't always get to.
Hear that.
Most of where I can really listen to an album undisturbed is in the van. That's really where
Yeah, hear that too, unfortunately.
that's where I, you know, will really get familiar with a record. Um, yeah, I would say, I mean, you know, preferably vinyl. I like the way vinyl sounds. Um, it just, I don't know, it's nostalgic. Plus, it just sounds better than every form of music there is, in my opinion.
Everything you've just said is 100% correct. It is not subjective, it is an objective fact.
But
This is not opinion.
but
What
yeah,
is
I
the
mean,
worst? What is the worst way to listen to music, and why is it a cassette tape?
Whoa! Don't lead the witness. Only I get to do that.
you and I definitely agree there. I
No, we this came up once before with us. That's why.
we had some people ask us if we were going to do cassette tapes this time, and I was just like, "What is the appeal? I don't understand it."
Here is the appeal. I will tell you this because I have spoken to 138,000 million people that make music, at least for a vocation, an avocation, a semi paid hobby. And apparently, everybody who puts out a cassette tape sells out of the damn things. Now, you don't make like 400 of them,
Yeah, they're
you
small
make like
runs
20.
usually. Yeah.
But apparently, if you make 20 or 30, you will sell the stupid things. And I have no idea why, because cassette tapes are
Yeah.
just awful.
Well, what I've seen is like, you know, black metal seems to have a really large community of people who will buy cassette tapes.
That's because, if I'm being honest, black metal on its face, and I mean this lovingly, sounds like a fart.
Well, my biggest problem with a lot of black metal, and
No one said I was wrong, throwing it out there.
I want to love most black metal, but uh, the bands that I really like that are black metal, I really, really like. Um, but I don't get into most of the ones that everybody loves. It just it's stuff
Completely
that
get that.
sounds like it's recorded in a tin can
Mm-hmm.
just for the sake of being recorded in a tin can. I'm all about lo-fi records. I really am. I think that
Yeah,
they're
there's a difference between lo-fi records
yeah.
and records that you can't understand because they were recorded on a not a wax cylinder, but they were like, impressed onto a legitimate can of peas. We're just going to go ahead and just
Yeah.
put that on the can of peas, then we're going to put that onto a tape, and then we're going to burn that to a CD, and then let's digitize that to a DAT. And now let's put that on a vinyl because you know what? If you just break the chain 18 times, it'll sound stupid. And I
Yep.
agree with you. Black metal at its purest form is amazing. However, typically at its purest form, it's unlistenable.
Yeah. My big thing is every mix, no matter what kind of mix you're going for, if you can't hear a kick drum, something is wrong with your mix.
If you can't hear a kick drum, you're at a shitty club show in University City in St. Louis. I'm sorry. I am now at the point of the interview where I'm just going to make stupid quips. We are about running out of time. We are close to our wrap up. Uh, I have really, really enjoyed this. I know Keefy has because I can see his face. Apart from what you've got a tour coming up, I believe starts in 2 days.
Sunday, yeah.
Oh shit, that's 4 days. 3 days? How many days is that?
Friday, Saturday. Well, 2 or 3
3
I'm
days.
days.
jet lagged. I don't know what time is right now.
Look, I've had a long
Time is an
week.
illusion,
My
man.
wife has been in Pittsburgh, and I'm meeting her tonight at like fucking midnight. So, and I'm wearing an orange hat, and I hate this color.
Oh my. The Chosen Few by 20 Watt Tombstone is coming out October 20th. Let me save this house on fire. Tom, as usual, you're a delight. We will catch up separately for another Ghost Cult interview between now and the album drop. But thanks for coming on and sharing this time with us. We're fans, first and foremost, of yours and Mitch. And we're looking forward to this record dropping and you coming to everybody's town whenever
Including
possible.
mine.
Yeah, I'll be there soon.
I know, October 2nd, I believe.
Yeah.
I've already got it in my. Look, I've literally got it in my phone. I will be there. And unlike at Whiskey War Festival, I will now out myself. Unlike where I missed your show, I'm going to go there specifically to see you.
Awesome.
I still regret missing that show. I mean, I've been thinking about that a lot leading up to today, and yeah, this is what it's like when you're anxious about things. When
we're all anxiety cucumbers full of water and pain.
we should do? We should be a goldfish, like Ted Lasso says.
We should be. I have never seen that show and don't know if I will.
How do
Why
you
don't
not?
you?
How have you not seen
I
it?
just haven't seen it.
It's
Pick
so
it on
good.
me. I don't own a TV, actually.
It's watch it on your phone.
I know.
It's beautiful.
Why don't you bring us home, Nicholas?
Me? All right. Tom, thank you very much. You are an abject gem. You are a prince among humans. You are a king among lizards. You are a duke among dolphins. Thank you very much for joining us. I don't know.
Thanks for having me.
I'm alliterating, doing literary things. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for, following your muse, because I know as Keefy and I have both bloviated all over everything you've done today, we appreciate the music you've done. And it's something we genuinely enjoy. And we have talked about it well before today. And having you here with us, having you put up with our abject silliness is quite an honor. And being able to take this time to talk to the musicians we love, to the people who make the music that makes the soundtrack of our lives, is a wonderful and glorious gift. And if you are listening to this, if you are watching this, and if you want more of these glorious gifts, if you want more of seeing us go straight fanboy and completely dropping our professionalism as though we were dropping trow at spring break at Playa del Carmen, please go ahead and subscribe, drop us a review, throw us a comment. Go ahead and hit me up for every terrible thing I have said, because I guarantee I have said it. Thank you, Keefy. Thank you, Tom. As always, this is the Glacially Musical Podcast. It does not play in Peoria, and for some reason, 20 Watt Tombstone isn't playing on Peoria this tour either.